So then Tony Schiavone was in the ring again, and he introduced our friend Don Fallis with his charge, Kyle Felcher.
Oh my God, this segment. I can't wait to hear what you think of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, why do they even send Tony to the ring? Tony gets in the ring, he introduces these guys, they come, they jerk the microphone away from him, and he just fucks off. And that
This is why Mean Gene had to be mean.
Well, I mean, had you ever seen anything like that happen where an announcer would just hand the microphone off and just walk off until, 10 years ago, maybe, not even that. But so then Don says Kyle has something very important to say and gives the microphone to Kyle Felcher. And the subject is Will Ospreay and why. Why, Kyle, why? Why did he do what he did to his friend, to his buddy? I have said, and I agree, that Kyle has something. He's got size. He's very young, and his face looks even younger. He's been trying to come up with an image, whether it's the jackets or he dresses hip like the young kids. He got the hair fluffed out somewhat. He's trying to get an attitude. You can see him trying. They're trying to do something with him, right? And there's something to work with there. He's a good athlete.
And the hair, I thought the hair was great for a heel like that.
Well, but no, actually, for a fucking obnoxious, high school teenager in one of the 80s fucking teen comedies, it was great hairdo. But here's what I believe they're trying to do. They're trying to take Kyle from zero to hero too quickly. He comes in, what was it? Was it last year sometime? Last fall is the first time we see him, right? He's obviously, he's never been on television before. He's wrestled in Japan. He doesn't know how the fuck to get, like Ospreay. Ospreay's been around a lot longer than Kyle, and he still don't know how to get over in America, except with this audience, not with the actual audience. But this guy's not done television. He's not been cutting promos. He didn't even have he looked like a giant Q-tip when he first showed up, and now they're rushing this. They're trying to dress him up, and they're trying to do this and that. And now they've given him a nearly 10-minute live promo on national TV. The point is, this is the kind of guy that should have worked the territories. This is the kind of guy that would have benefited by developmental, whether it was NXT, Florida Championship Wrestling, OVW, or what. Because he's just not ready to talk on TV for 10 minutes. And Britt Baker's voice is deeper than his is. And he's still to the point where he's rehearsed this and memorized all this. And as it went on and the people started hooting him and chanting, "Shut the fuck up," he started getting louder and more vehement about it, trying to remember when I say about some guys, they're trying to convince themselves as well as us. He was working really hard with this. He put a lot into it, but it was like a kid on the indies doing a promo for smart fans. It could have been done in a quarter of the time. There was tremendous detail about New Japan Wrestling and what Ospreay did there, which nobody saw and nobody cares about. Talk in basics to the audience that you've got now on national cable in America instead of people who followed indie shit 4 or 5 years ago. That and because all this detail, people, did you detect people at first? Okay, they'll listen. Then they started zoning out, and then they were like, "Shut the fuck up, this is going on too long."
Because the problem is, he turned on his longtime friend, and now after the fact, they have to establish how they were longtime friends.
Well, yes, that's the He knew what he had to do to get out of Will's shadow. But he can't get out of this promo. that was the thing, is that he said that everybody started calling me The next Will Ospreay. What, for 3 fucking weeks?
Yeah, who said that? I haven't heard that once.
But it hasn't even been that. They're referring to a long friendship that they've had someplace else that nobody saw, blah, blah, blah. And so then Kyle challenges Ospreay to ignore the doctor's orders and face him next week. And I swear to God, this is what he said. I'll give you Tiger Driver after Tiger Driver until your brittle neck withers away to dust. Who the fuck talks like this? He's trying to, like, Orson Welles wrote
I went to Cody's class last night.
But that's what it's like. It's a play that's been written and he's performing it. I'll give you Tiger Driver after Tiger Driver until your brittle neck withers away to dust. And then he takes a small bow and the audience applauds. And he's the proto-star. So they've mixed up superstar Billy Graham and prototype John Cena. And then he said, if I want to stand atop, I can't do it. If I want to stand atop.
If I want to stand atop.
I can be nothing like you. And then Don pulls out some fucking barber clippers out of his jacket pocket, but he's like a magician's assistant. I hold in my hand an ordinary set of barber clippers. And he hands them to Kyle, and Kyle Fletcher starts shaving his head. Actually, he wasn't shaving it. He had the guard on to where it's like number 2, where it's like a buzz cut, like in the Marines or whatever, right? But he starts shaving his head while he is screaming and drooling over and over again, like 4 or 5 times, I am nothing like you. While he's making like a old-time chic face in the camera. And I'm thinking, yeah, Britney Spears did it better. Because she really was fucking nuts. She was off her goddamn tit. But this is just...
Still is, by the way.
Well, and it's not my week to watch her, so I haven't kept up with her lately, but this was, it was an indie style promo that indie guys do because they don't have experience on television. And they've thrown this from completely being an unknown person and having no experience at talking on TV or working in America. They're trying to make him a main event guy in 6 months, and it's not going to work this quick. I don't know. What do you think?
It's a bunch of things that would have worked better spaced out over more time. They didn't do enough to establish him and Will Ospreay as lifelong buddies from the pandemic. When he started yelling how he doesn't want to be anything like Ospreay, first of all, I haven't heard anyone in AEW say he's the next Will Ospreay. And then if you were going to change yourself, your first move is to shave your head? I'll show everyone I'm nothing like you. I'll shave my hair that's a lot lighter than your hair. His hair doesn't look anything like Will Ospreay's hair.
I can't imagine what he's going to look like bald next week, but maybe he ought to leave it like he did, because he didn't cut the whole thing. He just like cut a bunch of it, and he was left looking like he'd just gone through chemotherapy. So maybe if he just leaves that and he just looks disheveled and
see, I liked
psychotic.
His hair. I liked his hair because even though he didn't do it, it gave you the potential to do the Ray Stevens thing where he combs it back, and then as soon as he starts taking a bump, he could just all of a sudden Shemp Howard. The hair's all over the place.
There you go.
He didn't do that.
Hey, we can't do that no more.
Well, that was the
hair today, gone tomorrow.
I guess they're not going to do a hair match because he gave away his hair for free.
I don't think anybody would have tuned in or paid anyway. It is, what's he going to look like bald? We don't care. That's another thing. They've devalued the hair match because so many of these fucking guys shave their heads on purpose anyway now.
This promo could have been 95% shorter and it would have been more effective.
Yes.
If he had just said, Will, I don't like you because you're a selfish prick and you think you're great and I'm better than you and I'm going to get anything other than, I will now stand here for 10 minutes and tell you my life story. How did anyone think this is a good idea?
Britney Spears did it better.
Well,
That's all I'm saying.
they say that Britney Spears, when things got really bad, she didn't know who to call. And Kyle is an active young wrestler, not insane. If he needed to call somebody, we know someone who could help him call somebody.
Well, they took her phone away, from what I understand, which is probably something you ought to do in those situations. But right now, Kyle's just going to be out of work pretty soon, because now that they've cut his hair off, he's just going to look like some bumpkin from Bean Station. So he's going to need to save money on his phone plan. Don't you think?
Absolutely, 100%. For sure.
Well,
Absolutely.
for sure there. Well, in that case, Mint Mobile can help him out. Mint Mobile can help you out. Mint Mobile can help anybody out that wants to save money on their phone plan. I can't stress this enough because it is impossible for anybody to give you a phone plan for less money than Mint Mobile is going to do it. What? As a matter of fact, for one thing, if it was any cheaper, Mint Mobile would be paying you to have it. And for another thing, if they want to charge you less than $15 a month for a phone plan, anybody, I don't care who it is, they're yanking your crank. They're winding you up. They are swerving you around. They are lying to you because it's just not feasibly possible. Now, think about all those people that got to climb up those telephone poles, Brian, and string that wire along. Well, how are they even going to pay them if it's less than $15 a month? Because those people make sometimes $8, $10 a day climbing those poles. Just think about that.
Why?
Because it can't possibly get any cheaper. Now, let's say somebody came along and wanted to give you an $8 a month phone plan. Well, how are they going to pay Sarah, the operator, to where when you open your phone up and you hit 0 and you say, Sarah, get me Sam Drunker's General Store? Well, if you can't pay Sarah, she's not going to be able to complete that call. You see what I'm saying, Brian?
No, I don't think anyone sees what you're saying, and they certainly don't hear what you're saying. And if you wanted to hear what other people are saying, we know someone who can help you out. Isn't that right, Jim?
Well, that's right. Turn up your volume if you can't hear what I'm saying. Mint Mobile is going to give you a cell phone plan for just $15 a month on a 3-month plan. It's premium wireless is what it is. That's even better than just regular wire. The premium wireless, they've got even less wires. And Mint Mobile comes with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, the nation's largest 5G network, and you can use your own phone and bring your own phone number along. As a matter of fact, bring other people's numbers. If you've got somebody that you'd like to get their phone calls for just a week or so, just to see what they're up to, give Mint Mobile their number. They'll forward you their calls for the next week.
That's absolutely wrong. We have established already that's not how it works. You get to use your own number, not other people's numbers. Leave other people alone with Mint Mobile.
Oh, so in other words, for $15 a month, you can't get the other people's number, just your own number.
Just your own, certainly not.
You have to pay more than $15 a month to Mint Mobile to get other people's phone numbers delivered to your phone.
You will not be getting anyone else's phone numbers, just your own.
That's right, not unless you pay more than $15 a month, but who wants to do that?
Only $15 a month for Mint Mobile.
That's right, $15 a month for mintmobile.com/JCE. That's how you get the $15 a month deal. For the 3-month plan, which is a total of $45, you go to mintmobile.com/JCE and you give them $45 and your phone's going to work for 3 months. How about them apples?
Are you saying it to me? I like those apples.
Yes, well.
Those are nice apples.
Then start bobbing then, pal. Of course, the $45 upfront payment is required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on the first 3-month plan only. Speed slower. Above 40 GB on the unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for the details. $15 a month. Again, 3 months, $45. mintmobile.com/JCE. How about them apples?
Mint Mobile.
Yes, I've just been talking about them.